Hey, welcome to the Jas Takhar podcast, episode 265. And I'm super excited today for a few reasons. Number one, as you can see, I got a very handsome silver fox-looking gentleman, and you'll know why I said that. His name's Mario Volpi, which means
Foxes.
And he is the head of brokerage here at Novvi Properties. Head of brokerage at Novvi Properties. I emphasize that because, as you guys know, my listeners and my viewers, I've been lucky and blessed enough to be traveling around the world and sitting in real estate brokerages. I truly have always said the real estate brokerage that I've been with now for coming up to 14 years is Royal LePage Signature in Toronto. You guys know it. Shops at Don Mills. Just a beautiful, beautiful outfit. I'm not just saying it because Mario's sitting next to me and I've got to know the rest of the team here as I've been in Dubai now for coming up to 5 days with the rest of my team, Bobo, as well as Laura Stewart, my business partner. Novvi Properties is one of, if not the most well-run brokerage from what I've seen these days that I've been here, but the amenities that this brokerage has to offer is second to none. I'm going to say it. I'm going to actually say it. It's the best in the world. And I say that because Dubai, as I've been here for the last 4 or 5 days, has been really interesting to me because they have the tallest building in the world. They have the fastest elevator in the world. I've been able to entertain myself at the biggest 360 view pool in the world. And it just goes on and on. Mario, welcome to the Jas Takhar podcast.
Thank you very much, and what an introduction.
Congratulations on what you guys have built here. As you and I were speaking for 12, 13 seconds off air, I mentioned to you that my viewers and listeners are majority real estate agents and right across the world. And they also have, hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of buyers, sellers, primarily investors. And why I wanted to sit down with you was not to necessarily, we'll do a part 2 of this for sure, because I know you like the sound of your own voice just as much as I do. But at part 2, we'll talk about what you've done with the brokerage and how you guys have, built it to what it is now. I think for this conversation, I really wanted to educate my viewers and listeners, primarily real estate agents, loan officers, and mortgage brokers, on why Dubai? Like, why do people come here and invest? And what do the numbers look like? And so with your vast, and I'm not going to age you, brother, so I won't tell them how old you're turning in a couple of months, I think you said to me, but weeks, okay? But you've been coming up to 40 years this year in real estate, coming from London, doing your thing there, now being in Dubai for 14 years?
16
years. You have what I call the goods and based on results and experience. So why Dubai, man? Like, why do people like to invest in this place?
Well, given my age, let's hope I can remember all the numbers, you know what I'm saying? Why Dubai? It's a great question. Dubai has evolved over the years for sure. But if I talk about today, why Dubai? It's the second safest city in the world behind Abu Dhabi. And obviously Abu Dhabi is the capital of the United Arab Emirates.
And what are we, like a 2-hour drive?
About an hour and a half, just down the road. So from a pure safety point of view, families, women as well, they can lead a very, very free life. So all the issues that you might have in dare I say, sort of the Americas or in Europe, we don't have that here. So that in itself, as I call it, is worth the price of admission. From an investor point of view, Dubai always wants to innovate and be the best, and hence why you've been to the tallest building in the world, the highest 360 infinity pool in the world, and those records. In fact, I think Dubai is one of the global cities that holds a record for having the most record. So it's very innovative, it's very forward thinking. And why is that? Because the federal government, which is all the 7 Emirates, get together for the betterment of the United Arab Emirates. But it's also run like a business. Sheikh Mohammed himself is a businessman at heart, and he involves his team, for want of a better word, the cabinet and what have you, to make sure that Dubai is always in the forefront. So whenever there's new technology, so we talk about AI now, I've read that in 2026, we're going to be one of the first cities to have flying taxis. I'm not sure I'll be going in one of those. Not just yet.
Not in the first year.
Not the first year, exactly.
Biggest airport that's coming.
Absolutely, the Al Maktoum. That's got 5 runways. And when it comes to real estate, it's up there. I mean, everywhere else in the world is suffering from either recession or threat of recession, whereas since COVID, we seem to have bucked the trend. Now, obviously, what goes up has to come down. However, we do see very, very good returns here. Whether it's in the secondary market, ready properties, so long-term rentals, typically can get anything from, let's say, conservatively 5% all the way up to like 9 and 10% return on a long-term rental. If you're talking about short-term rentals and therefore holiday homes, and being that we're a city on the sea, we get 13, 15, sometimes even 20% returns, depends on where. So these returns you don't really get anywhere else. Now, if you add in the capital appreciation, which since really November of 21 has started to take off, then you can see why Dubai is that attraction. And it's a great place to live as well. And plus, we've got the sunshine.
Well, all day, all night.
And all night.
It's just amazing.
Sunshine.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean? The heat, unbelievable. In terms of your short-term rentals and vacation rentals, there's no restrictions on that, because in Canada, in the States as well, depending on which state you're in, but specifically Canada, we're starting to see more and more restrictions on Airbnbs and Vacasas and so on and so forth. From that perspective, it's quite open, it's flexible.
It was before it came a thing, but again, because the government wants to ensure that we give best-in-class service, they created a licensing. So now...
So there's regulation around.
Regulations, and of course, it depends on what you charge, whether it's a premium or whether it's a standard, will determine, obviously, what the rent is going to be, the short-term rent. So, no, there are regulations. An individual cannot just go and put his property on Airbnb. You have to have a license. If you don't have that license, and of course, there are fees attached to that, if you don't have that license, you just use a regulator like 365 or Novvi Properties, where we obviously have that license for you, kind of.
And okay, now as a Canadian and as an American, and if it's different, let me know. But I would think it would be the same. What's the process of me investing into Dubai? Like, can I get financing, for example? Is there do I have to get some type of visa? Like, what's the process of somebody from the Western world to invest into Dubai?
Can we break that down into 2 sections? One is ready properties and off plan. If we talk about off plan, that's probably the easiest.
And really quickly, off plan, guys, is just what we call pre-construction.
Yeah, that's right. So something that's not built, you're buying it direct from the developer. 99 times out of 100, it is better to use a real estate agent as well, because they have access to inventory. But you don't even need to be here, because once you understand about the product, the deposit or the booking form can be anything from 5 to 10%. Sometimes you have to put an expression of interest down because they haven't launched it yet. And sometimes because the escrow account, which is very important to have an escrow account here where the money is very safe for the investor. If that hasn't opened up yet, technically speaking, the developer can't even sell it yet. So, but he or she, whatever, still wants to find out who's interested. So we take expressions of interest. That's a non-obligation. But anyway, going back to...
What was that, like 1,000 AD or something?
No. It's a lot more than that. It's like 50,000 dirhams. It's maybe $10,000, $20,000, something like that. US, yeah?
Yes.
So once the person decides to buy, a link is sent. They just pay their deposit, and that's it. They don't have to do anything. The trick, though, is because the market moves so quickly, there is no time to think. So sometimes if someone is interested and it's a hot project, it's better to get your agent, whatever you get, book it. None of this, what floor is it on, what view is it on? Because honestly speaking, we've had situations like that. And even if somebody takes 10 minutes to decide, someone else has taken it. It is that quick. Now, when it comes to the secondary market, it's a little bit more complicated. In the past, you had to be here. Again, you can buy unseen. That's not a problem. To actually start the process, there are electronic forms. So the seller has to do a contract with the agent, that's known as a Form A. The buyer, in this case an investor from abroad, will conduct a Form B. That is sent electronically. Once those two forms are in place, you do a Form F, which is the sales contract. Here, the sales contract is very quick, anything between 30 days, 45 days. It can go even 60 days, but generally speaking, between 30 and 45 days is the duration between saying I'll have it and agreeing a sale and getting the keys.
So is there a process more in the secondary market that I could inspect the property, have it inspected to make sure the structure of the property is safe? Financing for us is a big component of making investments, and we generally don't pay cash for properties because we like to leverage, put as low as down as possible. So I know my guys are like, okay, so how does the whole financing aspect work? And I know I asked you two questions there, but in terms of inspection, is that something that happens?
Yeah, look, it's not normal to buy something unseen.
Okay.
An unseen can be regarded even just looking at some photos, a floor plan or a video. That eventually is still unseen.
Yeah.
Because you don't get the feel of the property as well. So it depends if the investor has a friend, somebody who could be their power of attorney to like visually explain to them exactly what it's like. The agent can obviously do that. I'm talking about someone who cannot physically come here. But if you're buying a property, I would say do yourself a favor, get a holiday, come over here, enjoy the sunshine like you've done as well. I mean, you're working obviously, but you have some time out, go see some properties, meet some people, and then make your decision. So, of course, those viewings are very, very important. Now, going to the finance, if you're a non-resident, you can still get finance, but it's around 50 to 60% loan to value. So you would still have to put down 50 to 40% in cash.
In cash, okay.
And that can be done, even if you don't have a bank account here, it can be done through conveyancing companies where that money is sent to these companies who will then issue a manager's check on your behalf. But again, it's about recommendations. It's about using good agents and people who, have been recommended to you.
And so I want to just take a step back there. So if let's say I put 40%, and even as Canadians, for us to invest in US, we generally have to put down anywhere from 30 to 35%. So we're not that far off.
Exactly.
Okay, so now that other 60% that we're going to get from a financing perspective, what is the financing the lenders here in Dubai looking at from, let's say I'm the investor? Are they looking at my income in Canada?
No, absolutely. Because if they're going to lend, they want to know your collateral. So they will want to see 6-month bank statements from your bank of your home country, in this case, Canada.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living? They have to do their own KYC on you.
Sure.
They have to obviously do their own due diligence on you. They don't just lend you 50,000, 50% just like that.
Yeah.
But assuming everything falls into place, you will be able to get that finance quite easily. And actually, there was a program, and I don't believe Canada, unfortunately, was in it. Saudi, United Kingdom, India, I believe. These were 3 countries. There may be 1 or 2 or others, but I'm not sure that Canada was part of it, where actually there were certain banks that would lend up to 70 or 75% loan to value for non-residents.
Okay. In terms of location, is there as we do this recording right now, 2024, September, is there a location in the city that you would say, what, this is kind of the next up and coming, right? It's not what I would call fully turnkey. Like it's already, not that all these all areas have capped in terms of appreciation, but you'll start to see that the appreciation's not as high. You almost want to get in ground level. That's how I like to invest, where I know there's going to be a big population growth. And for me, real estate has always come down to location, right? Where are people going to come, which will tell me as an investor, they're going to be able to pay my rent that I'm asking for and give me some cash flow. Where is that possibly in Dubai now? And I know I'm putting you on the spot and it's asking for a crystal ball. And you told me you brought your crystal ball.
I have it with me all the time, so it's okay. No, I actually want to give you 3 areas, if that's okay. 2 in Dubai and 1 in a different emirate. Because if investors are looking at this and thinking, where is the next thing? Some may say even that, I'm not going to say you've missed the boat, but the boat's already left port. So if you run, you might jump and still get on it without falling into the water. So the first one that comes to mind is Dubai South. Now, Dubai South and Emaar South is an area, as it says, south of Dubai, no prizes there. Located pretty much either side of the new Al Maktoum airport, this largest airport in the world. Do not underestimate what that logistics is going to bring to that area, from employment to leisure, to workers, to people wanting just to live there, especially if they go and work at the airport. So that area has started from quite a low base because it is perceived to be so far away. But actually, with the great road networks that we have here, it's not as far as you actually think it is. So it's worth the trip down there. Right now, there's not a great deal there. I mean, obviously, the airport is there. They're developing it. There's going to be an 18-hole golf course be put down there. There's going to be multiple hotels. The metro line is coming. That's also very good, from a connectivity point of view, to connect you back to downtown where the Burj Khalifa is. So that area has already seen some capital appreciation of pretty much double digits. So you'd need to jump on that very quickly. The next area in Dubai, I would say, is called Dubai Maritime City. This is an area that was fairly dormant for a while. There was one developer who built one tower and it stuck out there on its own. Nothing else around there. It's close to the port, but it's also very, very close geographically to downtown. The Queen Elizabeth II, the boat, the liner that the Queen used to go on, is moored there as well, and it's really nice to see it. It's not as big as some of these monster boats now, but it's lovely as a backdrop. That area there also is going to see some really good capital appreciation. Again, there's going to be a metro linking up. They're going to be extending the metro, they're going to double it type of thing. So that's going to be really good. The third one actually is in the Emirate of Ras Al Khaimah. Now, the reason why this is coming onto the books is that from 2026/27, we are going to see the first casinos opening up in the United Arab Emirates.
Why do they choose that emirate?
I guess Wynn, who is the promoter, just came up with a good deal with RAK. I don't know. But they've certainly hit the map, because now the whole world's eyes are on Ras Al Khaimah, and specifically Al Marjan Island. There are 3 areas to RAK, and it's only about 1 hour, 15 minutes. Okay. And if you drive fast, maybe even under an hour from Dubai. Yeah. So actually, it's great for holiday homes. Yeah. But of course, the casinos is adding a different dimension. And the casinos will come elsewhere, but in years to follow.
I would think it would be here.
It's going to it will come to Dubai, but actually it's going to come to Abu Dhabi before it comes to Dubai.
Why is that? Because it's the capital, or
bigger brother, smaller brother. I don't know.
Got it. Okay. Talked a little bit about the location, which is obviously very important. Now, in terms of outside investors coming in here, what should they be looking for from a management company? Because it's not in our backyard as Canadians, and we're going to be trusting some type of management company. What are the things that you've seen with your experience? Like, make sure you stay away from this if a management company doesn't do it, right? So what are those things that we should be looking for?
Rather than look at the negatives, I would say look at the positives. I mean, many companies do property management. It tends to be mainly from the long-term tenant, although short-term as well.
And what would you consider long-term?
So in Dubai, long-term is anything from 6 months and above.
Okay.
So
we're about a year. You guys are second.
Yeah. 6 months and below, it tends to be known as short-term, and that's where you would need to have that license. You don't need to have a license to rent long-term. Do your homework, do your due diligence, and in some respects, this can be done online. But everybody can have a nice fluffy website, can have, the words that will impress you. So like I said before, get yourself a holiday, come over for a few days, go visit people, go and see them. Because if this is an investment, you're going to be spending a lot of money, or at least it's one of the biggest investments we all make is property, is to actually ensure that not only do you get the property right, but you get the management and the person who's going to look after it right. So go and meet the property manager. Have a look at their brochure. Yeah, what do you get for your money? And often there are standard, premium, and like ultra premium on the menu. And of course, the price will increase accordingly. But once you've done your due diligence, everybody is governed here by RERA and the land department. That's like the real estate police, for want of a better word. And they're there to ensure that the customer, the client, is looked after. Do things go wrong sometimes? Of course they do. But there are processes in place. And especially today, I would say Dubai is maturing. It hasn't got there yet. But I remember back in 2008, some of the horror stories. I mean, developers, if we go back to buying off plan, developers would launch a project and they didn't even own the land. You see, that's not allowed now. And of course, when developers ran away, with people's monies because of the financial crisis, I hasten to add, not because the developers just wanted to steal your monies, right, but circumstances. But that's not what's happened today. Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and in fact all the Emirates have clubbed together and come up with a very, very strict roadmap to ensure that the customer is protected.
Yeah.
And when things go wrong, there are things in place to actually be able to resolve them as well. So it is a safe place to invest as well. I can't tell you what's going to continue go up and continue go down. I can't, that's market conditions. But what I can confirm is that if anybody wants to come and buy in the United Arab Emirates or indeed Dubai, they'll have a great time in buying it. Just choose your agent well and choose your product well.
I can't speak about the other Emirates. Like, I just learned that there were 7, right, as I was coming down here. But what I can definitely say about Dubai is the amount of money that is invested into infrastructure here.
Yeah.
When I like to talk to my investors in Canada, I always tell them, invest in areas within what we have something that's known as the Greater Toronto area. It's about a 75-kilometer radius. It's about 6, 7, 8 little cities that make this Greater Toronto area up. Within that area, I'm always telling people, hey, make sure that you're investing into a place where the government's putting in money. Because if they're putting in money into the infrastructure, you know that it's something that they want to last for a very long time. And that's what Dubai has done from my perspective. It's hundreds of millions of dirhams into this and billions here and billions here. They want the reputation to be high. I think what was maybe missing 16, 18 years ago was this sense of security of investing into something like Dubai. So in Canada, specifically Toronto, again, when I speak to my investors, I talk to them about a sweet spot when investing into either off-plan or even in the secondary market, which is usually like a 2-bedroom condo. It's just been one of our best sweet spots from an appreciation perspective. Also, it's very easy to rent out. What would you say in your experience is a great sweet spot for an investor to look at from a capital appreciation perspective? It could be a townhome, it could be a 5-bedroom, whatever it may be, but also something that's going to give them some cash flow. Like after all their expenses are paid, they're going to make something just that they can start to save the money here as well.
Sure, there isn't a particular area that gives everything. If you look at, for example, Dubai Marina, now Dubai Marina has got water. It's not far from the Palm. To buy it's going to cost you a little bit more than, say, buying in, for example, JVC, Jumeirah Village Circle, which is more inland. The Dubai Marina would attract long-term rentals and short-term rentals, holiday homes, because you're by water and you're not far from the beach. So the actual return on investment is probably going to be slightly less there. There you're talking between 5 and let's say 7% return. But if you then talk about Jumeirah Village Circle, which has an array of properties from studios to 1, 2, 3 bed apartments to townhouses to villas.
So more variety.
It's more variety. Yeah. You're more likely to get a better return on investment there, depending on obviously what you bought it for. And JVC is going to be cheaper than Dubai Marina. So therefore your ROI is going to be higher when you rent it out. When you come to sell it, the question then is, will Dubai Marina increase in value more so than Jumeirah Village Circle? From my point of view, I would say probably yes, purely and simply that people are attracted to water. Right. There are certain nationalities that will only buy on the beach or with a water view, and therefore you've got to weigh that up.
Right.
Is it return on investment you want, or is it capital appreciation? You do get both, but there's always it's always weighted on one to the other, really.
Love it. Mario, thank you so much for your time, buddy. As you mentioned earlier, I did come here to work, and I got 70 of your agents downstairs right now waiting. We are definitely doing a part 2, and I hope to have it in person, but if not, I know you and I could do a webinar. I really, really appreciate it. What's your Instagram handle? So for people to connect with you.
Yes, you got to get me up. Yeah,
100%.
it's Mario Volpi 18.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. Really appreciate your time today. Let's go help these guys sell some more real estate here in Dubai. All right. Take care, guys.